With all due respect, I've got many fishermen in my riding, and again, with all due respect, there is nothing but deep resentment for the Department of Fisheries and Oceans. And you don't even know how many jobs are going to be lost. You don't even know what's going to happen to the coastal communities like Port Hardy, like Prince Rupert, like Campbell River that rely on these industries. You don't even have a plan.
Gang, what's up? Aaron here, Canadian Looney. We're going to a committee investigation on fisheries and oceans. We've got BC MP Aaron Gunn. This guy is a shark, quickly becoming one of my new favorites to watch on here. He's sharp and he does not let these filthy liberal bureaucrats off the hook. Somebody needs to answer these questions. It's not going to be these bureaucrats. You answer the questions for them. What do you think? Let's take a look. Leave in the comments what it is you think. Anyhow, let's jump straight into this. Aaron Gunn is one to watch. Watch this till the end, man. He's sharp the whole time. Let's go.
Questions to Ms. Graham. Has the department done a study of the economic and social impacts of the marine area closures or underwater parks on fishermen and their families?
Mr. Chair, the work that we've done has been to do the socioeconomic assessment as areas are established.
Well, you're trying to meet a 30 by 30 arbitrary decision put out by the United Nations. Has the department done an economic study of how many jobs will be lost from these marine area closures that have to be created to meet that number?
We are working as part of our site establishment process. Once we understand what the conservation measures are that will be put in place to do that socioeconomic analysis to generally understand.
So you are putting forward a policy that has the potential to cripple an entire industry before doing a socioeconomic assessment of how many jobs will be lost. Is that correct?
We're bound to follow the regulatory development process, which requires that at the drafting stage that we develop a regulatory impact assessment, which is meant to understand what the potential socioeconomic
So you don't know how many jobs will be lost. Has the department done a study of the social impacts on families and coastal communities of jobs that will definitely be lost as a result of marine area closures and underwater parks?
We have not, but we do work very
that's
closely
fine.
with
That's
the
fine. Has the
industry.
department done a study on the impacts to Canada's food security as a result of these jobs being lost that are a result of these marine area closures?
The work that we do in terms of understanding those potential economic impacts is to work very closely with the fishing industry to try to minimize.
Earlier, my time is limited. Sorry. Earlier, you said that you thought you had a strong relationship with the stakeholders in the fishing industry, and with all due respect, I've got many fishermen in my riding, and again, with all due respect, there is nothing but deep resentment for the Department of Fisheries and Oceans. They feel like they were not consulted. You're sitting here and telling me that this large plan that has the potential to close 30% of Canada's fishing grounds, 40% in the Northern South bioregion, and you don't even know how many jobs are going to be lost. You don't even know what's going to happen to the coastal communities like Port Hardy, like Prince Rupert, like Campbell River that rely on these industries. You don't even have a plan. What would you say to the fishermen and their families whose ability to put food on their table to feed their families, whose ability to earn a livelihood has been put at risk by some arbitrary international ideological policy that this government's blindly pursuing without even looking at the economic consequences? What would you say to them if you were sitting down at a meeting in one of these coastal towns? Because they're mad, they're frustrated.
We work with the fishing industry. We really do strive to ensure that the impacts are as minimal as possible, and we have, as a result, adjusted boundaries in a manner to actually minimize those socioeconomic impacts.
I mean, you say that, but in BC, I'm sure you're familiar, there's a group supported by fishermen and industry, the Marine Planning Team, that came together basically out of desperation with a counter proposal to meet your same closure requirements but reduce economic impacts by 77% and projected job losses by 80%, because they actually did the work with what the job losses were going to be. That was back in 2020. They never heard back. A couple years later, you came back with another proposal that ignored everything that they suggested and actually was even worse. So you say that you're listening to stakeholders, but it doesn't seem like you're listening to stakeholders. If you're ignoring all the advice they put together, why did you ignore everything that the Marine Planning Team put together?
We've shared with the fishing industry with respect to the work that the fishing industry has done on the West Coast is reassure them that the work that they have done is going to be really critical in understanding the socioeconomic analysis that will be undertaken as we advance to specific sites.
I mean, you guys obviously haven't done your work.
Oh, yeah.
Commissioner, as you know, right now Canada is implementing the UN 30 by 30 policy, which means, as it pertains to oceans, closing off 30% of Canada's waters to various economic activities and turning them into these marine protected areas or underwater parks. What is the basis for the 30% number? Is it scientific or political?
So the 30% is not about closing off, and I'm not going to repeat what the department said, but we have in paragraph 46 highlighted that they should be much more transparent about the portion that it actually is a no-take zone, the closing off that you're saying. So I would like to see them be more
I
transparent.
agree, but how did we get to 30%? Is that a
30%,
scientific? Is that a scientific number that was decided by marine biologists, or is this a political number?
It was the
Why
product
not
of
32?
negotiations in Montreal in, I believe, December 2022. Under
political?
the auspices of the.
Is it safe to say it's political and not scientific? The reason why it's 30%, not 35, not 22?
It was
Seems
a
kind of
product of
arbitrary.
international negotiations. If that's purely political, it depends on your definition. But there are delegates there that are politicians and delegates who aren't. So I don't know if it was entirely political, but it was a UN negotiation.
Right, it sounds political to me. One of the reasons I ask is more than 30% of BC's coast is already conserved under this formula. So why are there additional closures than planned in BC? And why is BC bearing a disproportionate amount of these closures and the economic cost to them?
So I don't have information on the degree of closures. If you mean the degree of marine protected areas.
I mean, you're playing with words over there. I mean, the entire point is the marine protected areas are closed to economic activities. The department doesn't seem to know in some cases which activities, but that's the entire point of the marine protected areas, I presume, or else there'd be no point in having them.
I don't agree with that assumption, and that's why we have our recommendation at the end. We would like them to be transparent about the portion that is a no-take zone, a closure in the sense that you're talking about, and the portion that is open to activities of various different sorts. And as to the percentage in BC that is covered by protected and conserved areas, I would turn it over to the departments to speak to that.
Chair, in terms of on the West Coast, with respect to the Northern Shelf Bar region, implementation of those areas, noting that the boundaries will likely change once we undertake consultation on the site-specific areas that are identified to advance as part of the network, that would potentially contribute approximately 0.03% towards the target.
BC is over 30% already, correct?
I'd have to look at the statistics.
It's over 30%. I'll save you the time. And yet BC is now, and the Northern Shelf bioregion, which I believe you're proposing to close up to 40% to various economic activities. So I want to actually turn this to Mr. Miller. You claim that MPAs are essential to fighting climate change, for environmental protection, and yet every single fisherman that I have talked to has said by concentrating the same fleet in a smaller and smaller area, you risk magnifying the environmental impacts, you increase the risk of overfishing, and you decrease the efficiency of the catch, which means you burn more fuel to catch the same amount of fish and create more emissions into the atmosphere. How is that better for the environment, and how is that better for climate change?
So if I'm understanding the question correctly, Mr. Chair, you're talking about sort of the potential for displacement of fishing out of a marine protected area into surrounding areas? Is that
I mean, that is what the department is proposing.
So again, I would go back to the point that these are not closed areas for fishing. We generally work hard to avoid closing areas that would be high potential fisheries areas if there is any closure at all. We accommodate.
Be there. This is for the whole department and everyone here. I spent the last year going up and down my riding, talking to fishermen. They're all under the assumption that their livelihoods are at risk because maybe 40% of areas for gooey duck harvesting, for example, are about to be closed. 40% of prawn areas are about to be closed in the Northern Shelf bioregion. So either they're lying to me, which I don't think they are, either you're lying to me, or you've done a horrible job at communicating this. So what is going on? Like, are these areas being closed? This has been going on for years. These are people's livelihoods that we're talking about. Are there going to be areas that are closed to prawn fishing and gooey duck in these areas? Yes or no? And what is the percentage? Or do you still not know after 5 years?
So I would agree that I think we need to do as much as we can to communicate clearly about what these areas actually mean. I think we do definitely have a communications challenge there, and we need to do more, for sure. In terms of the areas that we are contemplating, I think I'm getting the signal in BC, like the overlap with shrimp fishing, for example, is tiny. So, I can't speak to all of the other areas that others are contemplating, but I would agree that we need to get out and do more to make sure people understand what's actually proposed in these areas so that it's clear.
All right, gang, we're wrapping it up right there. Let me know in the comments what you think about MP Aaron Gunn. He is one of my new favorites to watch on here. He seems to me like he really does care, and he is informed, he's sharp, he's well-spoken. These bureaucrats have nothing to offer, no answers, just bureaucracy, red tape, easy jobs. It's ridiculous. That's it. We'll wrap up the video now. Aaron, Canadian Looney, watch one of the other ones floating around here, learn something about Canadian federal politics. Thanks for watching this video. We'll catch you in the next one. We're out.
As a European, I am a European,
European.
actually.
Oh, you are?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
oh.
I'm Irish citizen. Yeah, so there you
welcome.
go.
Welcome.
Speaking as a European,
WTF.
How many kids did you molest with Jeffrey Epstein?
More than just elbows.
and as the most European of the non-European countries.
Being aware of what potential conflicts of interest you
What
sought
possible
to avoid.
conflict would you have, Stephanie? Stephanie, I'm complying with the rules. I'm complying with the rules in advance. Confiance.
These are Muslim values. These are Canadian values.
Hi, everyone. Congratulations, you're spending more money on taxes than on food, clothing, and shelter combined.
Hey, that's something everyone can enjoy.